Hello, everyone. Welcome. We are so excited you are here tonight. My name is Deanna Privet. I am from North Carolina, and I am what they call a serial entrepreneur. I have been in retail for about since 2013. And thanks to this business that you're going to learn about tonight, I have retired myself. This is what I do now, which is great. It allowed me to buy my time back. I have 4 kids. I have 2 that are involved in this business, and then I have 2 that we homeschool, and then my husband is also involved. So it is truly a family affair. I don't know if you're looking for info on the business side or if you're looking on the financial side. Either way, this is a win for you tonight. You're going to get some great information. Just getting invited is a privilege, so please don't take it lightly. Have your cameras on and be ready to take notes. Thanks to the Zoom era, am I having trouble with audio, or is that okay? No, somebody else. Thanks to the Zoom era, we now have a goal to open offices in every state across the country. In fact, our next office will open right here in North Carolina. We are super excited about that. Any day now, we'll get the word and be ready. Please know that whether you're looking to just get out of debt or you're looking to make tons of money, this is the place. So again, relax, listen, take notes, be attentive. You'll be glad you were invited. And then our first speaker tonight is MARC ABREA. He is a dad of the cutest twin boys I've ever seen. He's been in the finance business for years. He is always on a quest to learn more so that he can transfer that knowledge to us. And that is awesome. And then we're going to close it out tonight with the one and only Jenna Herrera. She is our broker. She's the #1 broker in our company. She is recognized for her hard work in the business and her community. She is a mom of 2 gorgeous girls. She has taught me everything I know about the financial world, and her goal is to break records for making the most 6-figure earners in this business. I'm excited about being one of those. So get ready. Mark, take it away.
Awesome. Thanks, Mama D. So we call Deanna Mama D here. She's awesome. We love her. So welcome, everybody. My name is Mark. Today, we're going to be sharing with you guys the story of who we are and what we do. We're going to be talking about some financial concepts that are utilized by businesses, corporations, the rich and wealthy, when it comes to preserving and creating wealth. And so some of these concepts that I'm going to teach you is something that I highly suggest that you take note on. And on the second half of the presentation, we're going to be sharing with you a business opportunity. Maybe this is something that you can see yourself doing to allow you and your family to really, get yourself out of a situation that you're probably in. For my wife and I, when we started in business, we were in a position where, we just kind of were in that rat race, right? I mean, we didn't dislike our jobs. We didn't love our jobs, but we just always felt there was something more. We would wake up tired, not wanting to go to work, get in our car, drive to work, spend 8 hours away from each other, just kind of fell in that routine, right? And next thing you know, you wake up, it's 3 years later and you're still sitting in the same position, right? And so if that's you, I know exactly how you feel, because that's exactly where I was before this business opportunity. So as we go through this, I want you to just keep a couple perspectives in mind. Number one is, if this information is valuable to you and you want to take advantage of it on your own financial side, then please let's sit down. Let's talk with the person that's invited you today. Number 2 is, we want to share this information with as many people as we can, because our communities right now are falling behind because of financial literacy, or they just don't understand the different vehicles and ways that you can grow and save, protect your money. And lastly is that person, if you're like me, looking for an opportunity to do something better with your life, we want to introduce you to one of our brokers and get you into one of our interviews, possibly as a potential partner of ours. So let's go ahead and jump right into this. We want to be mindful of everybody's time. I know it's Tuesday night. Depending on where you are, it might be late in the evening already. So who we are is Revolution Financial Management. We are backed by the biggest financial corporation in the world. Their name is Aegon. They're so big that if you put companies like Nike, Disney, Pepsi, Home Depot, and you put all those companies together, Aegon is still bigger than all of those companies combined. Now, what we're doing is we're trying to solve a problem. Our mission is no family left behind. If you take a look at this pie chart here on the left, this represents the average household income. And so what's happening here is half of people's income are typically going straight to living expenses, right? That's gas, groceries, rent, mortgage, all that types of stuff. A quarter of that goes towards taxes, and another of the quarter goes towards debt, ultimately leaving people with relatively no room to save for things that matter. And you start to feel you're on that little, that hamster wheel, you're living paycheck to paycheck, and you just don't really know how you're going to get out of it, right? And so, or maybe you're on the other side of that. Maybe you do have extra income that's left over at the end of the month, and you're just wondering where to focus on saving that money. And so what we're doing here is we're teaching how we can alleviate some of that income, and we can basically reallocate it to things that matter. So we're talking retirement savings, that's planning for your future so that you can retire with dignity. We're looking at protecting your kids as far as college funds, and maybe you don't want your kids to go to college. Maybe you just want to have extra savings set aside so that you have options for your kids. Now, we're also looking at proper protection. This is life insurance. And then the one biggest thing that we're seeing right now is freedom from debt. With this pandemic, getting through it, people have lost income, people tapped into their savings and their credit cards, and now debt is something that we're up to our neck in. And so we want to make sure we can protect you with that. Now, one big key difference between us and our traditional industry is that we don't ever have to charge our clients a penny for the services that we provide. If you've ever sat down with an advisor in the past, I worked at a bank for several years before this, and if you ever sat down with one of us advisors in the past, there's typically an advisor fee, a broker fee, or some sort of compensation fee that you have to pay to that broker, right? We in this industry, or in our agency, we don't ever have to charge those fees to our clients. And so you're probably asking yourself, well, how do you guys get paid? Good question. So the different companies that we work with, insurance companies and financial companies, these companies pay us as a marketing expense. So we work with over 200 different companies on our platform. Companies I'm sure you've heard of, right? Transamerica, Nationwide, Pac Life, Fidelity, Jackson, just to kind of name a few. These companies will pay us as a marketing expense. So to clarify this just a little bit more is that, think about this. When you're watching football the other day, how many times did you see a Nationwide commercial, right? You probably singing the jingle in your head, right? We see it all the time. But how many times have you ever picked up the phone and actually called Nationwide to see what they could do for you? Probably never, right? I know I never did. And so that's what's going on here is these companies are spending hundreds and millions of dollars on advertisements like Super Bowl commercials, billboards, but nobody's actually picking up the phone to dial and call and see what they can do for them. And so that's why they like to partner with agencies like ours, because we can market their products for them. And in doing so, they'll pay us as a marketing expense. So let's jump over to our next slide and start talking about some of the financial concepts that we teach within our firm. So the first thing about understanding our money is how our money can grow. So rate of return, this is basically how your money's growing, how your money's compounding. And there's a rule that we teach. It's called the rule of 72. It was designed by Albert Einstein. And he says that if you take the number 72 and you divide it by your rate of return, this will equal the amount of years that it would take for your money to double. So follow me in this example. We have a 29-year-old. And let's say they had $10,000 and they took that $10,000 to go save it, let's say in a bank, right? And let's say the bank was going to give them 1% rate of return over here on the left. 72 divided by 1 equals 72. So that person's money is going to double after 72 years at a 1% rate of return. Now, that doesn't sound exciting, especially if you think about what the bank accounts or banks are giving you when it comes to your savings accounts nowadays, right? We're talking 0.01%, maybe 0.05 in a high yield savings. So it's not very exciting. Now let's just jump over to a 10% rate of return. If we can invest that money or save that money in an account that earns 10%, 72 divided by 10 is 7.2 years. So essentially that money is doubling every 7 years. So that 29-year-old at 36, that 10 grand will turn to 20 grand. 7 years later, that 20 turns to 40. so on and so forth. By the time they're the age of 72, they'll have $640,000. Now, for some of us, that may not take us to the promised land, but now you can just understand that the moral of the story is that we want to learn how we can earn higher rates of return. Now, what's one thing that people's biggest concern is when it comes to investing in higher rates of return? It's risk, right? The risk or the event of losing money, right? That's people's biggest concern. And sometimes the best money earned is money never lost. And so the second principle that we like to teach here is how your money can grow. So there's three ways that our money can grow. The first way being a fixed account. This is like your money market, your CD, your savings account, your checking account. It's protected from loss and it has a guaranteed rate of return. The problem here is that a lot of times it's very low rates of return, right? We just talked about 0.01% in your savings account. Maybe in a CD or money market, you're probably lucky if you get 1 or 2%. Now, the benefit of it being in a fixed account is access, right? A lot of times these accounts, there's very easy access. Their liquidity, you can pull money, access it immediately. The second way that your money can grow, you don't see it here on this screen, but it's the variable market. So it's the ups and downs of the stock market. Okay, so when the market's doing really well, everyone's excited, hallelujah, right? But when the market drops, that's when people start to stress out. That's when people start to, freak out, say, call in their advisors, what's going on, right? If they're paying attention to it. So it's very risky, the ups and downs of the market. So if you ever had a 401k, maybe a 403b, a TSP, an IRA, that's where your money's sitting, is in a variable account, very up, very down. So it's very volatile. Now, the third way that your money can grow is in the index strategy. Now, a lot of times people have never heard of this because most people, when they seek out financial help, they go out and they talk to an advisor or they talk to traditional banks. And for this type of strategy, you need a particular license that allows you to market this sort of strategy. Okay, and so what the index strategy is, it's only offered through US-based insurance companies. And so you have to have a particular license. And so what the index strategy says is that when the market's doing well, you're going to be able to lock in the gains, take advantage of those gains. Hallelujah. Now, when the market drops, you have what is called guaranteed floors. So you actually don't ever lose any money. So you can get all the benefits of growing and gaining without the benefits of losing. Well, I guess there's no benefits of losing, but without the risk of losing. So you get the gain without the loss, right? And so why doesn't everybody talk about this? Well, like I mentioned, you have to have a certain type of license, a license that every one of our agents with our agency has and allows them the ability to market this product towards you. Now, next thing that we want to understand is distribution. Okay, so we can grow our money, we can create a goose egg, assets. This is awesome, but we also have to understand how our money can be distributed. Okay, so first way that we can distribute is through a taxable or tax now type strategy. So this is like mutual funds, this is like stocks, this is like growth in your checking or savings account. You typically have to pay taxes now, which is called capital gains. Now, capital gains has the highest tax percentage out of everything else out there. So a lot of people are like, okay, I don't want to be too heavy in my taxable assets. So they start to look at other ways of diversifying. So the second way most people look into is the tax deferred strategy, right? This is where you're taking pre-tax dollars, you're investing it into a program, it's tax-free, it grows tax-free, but when we go to distribute, that's when you're going to have to pay taxes. Okay, so think again of a 401k, right? Most people are saying, hey, I'm going to invest into my 401k. It's going to be tax deferred. I'll worry about taxes later. But what's the issue here? The issue is we don't know what taxes are going to be in the future, right? And right now we're actually in a percentage or a tax bracket that's been lowest than it's ever been. And it's projected to go up. So if you're putting a majority of your investment into something that's tax deferred, what you're doing is you're putting money into this investment that you're going to pay taxes down the line in a year that you have no idea what the taxes are going to be like. Right now, they're at the highest of 50%. It's very well, possible it can get up to 60, 70%, right? Now, lastly is tax exempt. So tax exempt or tax never says you take post-tax dollars and you invest it into a program. Okay, you invest into a program, it grows tax exempt, and when you go to distribute this money, it is also tax exempt. So two ways that you can really get involved into a program like this. This is Roth IRA. Some of you probably have heard of what a Roth is, right? It's tax exempt. And the other is Index Universal Life Insurance, or investment grade insurance program that you can, or investment insurance grade asset that you can utilize to grow tax-free income. So what we want to do, and I know we kind of went through this a little quickly, but in closing, I want you to reach out to whoever invited you so that we can discuss these details, because we want to help you earn higher rates of return. We want you to be able to protect your money when the market is down. And we also want to be able to help you grow tax-free or tax exempt. And so in closing here, there's 6 key steps to financial freedom that if you sit down with whoever invited you, they can do what is called the financial needs analysis, where they'll talk about 6 different things. Number 1, we'll talk about your cash flow, right? So there's 2 different ways you can increase your cash flow. The first way being just paying attention to your budget, what comes in versus what goes out. Just by, just by paying attention to these types of things, you can increase the cash flow. Second is being able to earn more money. So that opportunity side of what me and my wife saw when we saw this business was a way that we can increase our cash flow, which is something Jenna's going to talk about. Number 2, we want to make sure that you have an emergency fund that's set in place. We want you to expect to have at least 3 to 6 months of savings just in case an emergency happens, a flat tire or a rainy day. You have something that you can tap into so that you're protected. Number 3, we'll want to talk about your insurance protection, your life insurance, because GoFundMe's, that's not an actual plan, right? That is a last-ditch effort to try and help the family with in the event of a loss. And so we want to make sure that you're protected. And a lot of times it's pennies on the dollar to get a good insurance coverage to protect you and your family. Now, 4th thing is we want to make sure we're wealth building. So this is your retirement asset. This is generational wealth. We want to ensure that you're put together a plan that's diversified, that's going to get you where you want to go. 5 is debt management. We talked about that being a big one. We want to help you effectively strategize and pay all that stuff as soon as possible, saving you on that interest. And lastly is preserving the wealth, because at the end of the day, when we go to pass on, the good Lord calls us home. We want to ensure that the wealth that you've accumulated is passed on to your beneficiaries, the next generation, without any hiccups, without any complications. So now what I want you to want to do is just take your phone out and just text whoever invited you or sent you this link, and just text them one of these 6 things, which is most important to you. Maybe it's all of them. They'll understand what you're texting them about. Just hit them with a 1 for cash flow. Maybe it's 5 for debt management. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and bring up our next speaker, Jenna Herrera. She is one of our colleagues, best friends in business. She's an entrepreneur. She's a mom, and she's just awesome. She's a pillar in her community. She's an avid, follower of faith in Jesus Christ. And so we love her. So go ahead and take it away, Jenna.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you so much. Such an amazing job sharing the story. I'm going to stop my share really quick here. Sharing the story of who we are and what we do. And we are so passionate about getting this information out and making sure that people actually understand money, because more often than not, I can see everyone. Did anybody take a class in school that taught them about money? Usually the answer is no. So we don't learn things like the rule of 72, and we don't learn things like how to compound our money and how to take advantage of these secrets or these wealth principles like the rich and the wealthy do. And so that's what we're committed to doing here. So I'm going to spend probably just the next, I'd say 7 to 10 minutes with you guys. I know Mark gave some really good information, but what I'm going to tell you right now, that's life-changing, but we're going to talk about an opportunity now. So if you were invited to learn about money, which you guys all learned about money, right? Did everyone learn something new? You were invited to learn about money. And now we're going to talk about entrepreneurship. And so if you're anything like me, you know, when I grew up, I always knew that I just knew that something in me was meant for something more. So I always wanted to do something really, really big. Did anybody feel like that? And I wanted to do something. I wasn't sure. I ended up going to law school. So I'm a first generation entrepreneur. I didn't really get an example of entrepreneurship. So I never knew it, but like I knew deep down that that's what I wanted. But because I was never able to find the right opportunity, I ended up going on to school. I spent $100,000 and about I spent 4 years in college getting my degree in criminal justice. I spent another 4 years in law school. And then, the 4 years I spent in high school. So I spent about 12 years and $100,000 trying to figure out how to make it in the world, right? I had I wanted to be somebody. I wanted to make a lot of money. I wanted to contribute. I wanted to give to the lives of others and have this well-rounded life. And let me tell you, law was not it. And it took me $100,000 and 12 years to figure out, but thank God I figured it out. And I came to something just like this. And I learned about money. And I'll be honest, I remember there was a slide. We didn't show this slide tonight, but the slide that I saw basically said, if you helped, it said the average client. So we help people understand money. Does everyone have that? We help people understand money. And what it said is the average client pays $2,400 in commission. So if you were to help one client a week, that would be like 8 to 10 grand a month, which would pretty much be 6 figures a year. And I saw that was the slide that caught me. Maybe something Mark said or I say is going to make you want to be intrigued by this opportunity. But that was the slide I saw. And I'm like, I can stay at home. I can be a mom and raise my kids the way I want to raise them while still making 6 figures. And that was amazing to me. Little did I know this was actually a 7-figure opportunity that I was going to get to be able to build a business. And so we are an agency. And whenever you come across an agency, that agency is looking for agents. So let me tell you guys a couple of things that we look for, next to helping somebody, with their health or maybe bringing them to God. The most noble thing that you can do to contribute to the lives of others is help them with their money. Help their family figure out, hey, this is the plan if something happens to you. And if nothing happens to you, this is how you're not going to run out of money when you're 60, 70, 80 years old. That's literally what we do. This is how you'll get out of debt. This is how you'll sleep at night. This is how you'll get your finances straight within your marriage. That's what we do. There's nothing more noble. And so as you can imagine, on a last minute notice, we got 100 people on, and then we have like another however many, on our different, like we're on TikTok and Instagram and all these things live, but there's hundreds of people coming onto these calls who are pretty much desperate and they want this information. Would you guys agree? And so what that tells me, let's put our business hats on for a second. I'm going to talk to you guys as if you're looking for a business opportunity. And if for some reason, you don't have the qualities that we're looking for, and maybe this is not a fit for you, which it's not for everybody. It's a fun line of work, pays really high, lots of benefits, but it does require personal growth and work. So if it's not for you, I want you to just think, hey, is there somebody I know who could benefit from this? Because there's somebody out there is praying for an opportunity. And we all know that, especially with everything going on right now. You have layoffs. You have people who are keeping their job and doing double the work, but not getting paid anymore. You have people who are basically being, the mandates are going through on the vaccine. This is not a political conversation, but the fact is people are going to lose their jobs and people are desperate for an opportunity and for help to understand their money. So it's a very big market demand with very big compensation. Okay. Here are a couple things. I want to list them out. I wrote them down so that you guys know. We look for people who are competitive, who are dissatisfied. When I found this, I was coming out of law school and I did not want to work for 80, 90 hours a week to make 60, 70, 80 grand a year. It sounded like a nightmare, honestly. And instead, I want to encourage you guys to, I know this is weird and probably no one has told you this lately, but I want to challenge you guys to just like dream, what if you could make 6 figures in your own business? What if you could grow and have mentorship from us and Mark and Deanna and all these people you see to becoming a business owner and exploring entrepreneurship? What if you actually can retire and you can travel and you can retire your parents, homeschool your kids, whatever that goal is for you? What if it could happen? And we all know that it requires money to make these goals and dreams come true. That's just what it is. And so we look for people who are dissatisfied with what their current situation is. and they're looking to do something more. And so if that's you, if you're open to mentorship, which we're really big on personal mentorship, and helping people grow. We didn't learn the stuff. To be an entrepreneur, you need to learn communication, marketing, sales, negotiation, not even sales, because what we do is not really salesy. We just share what we've learned and it just works out. But you need to learn work ethic and discipline and all these things. And no one credit and about real estate. And no one taught you these things, money, financial literacy. Nobody taught you guys this stuff in school. Nobody, or else our nation wouldn't be in the mess that it is. And so we teach that. We have a system and a full-fledged apprenticeship program that we will put you through, help you get licensed and help you get trained. Awesome, right? You're on your way to 6 figures. Yes, you can start part-time. It's only part-time. But let me just take it a step further for you. So awesome, you can make 6 figures. Remember I said, like, I discovered that and I was like, this is so cool. But then I discovered I could make 7 figures. So this is really where I really have to like dare you to get uncomfortable and dream and think like, what could happen if I took this serious? And so we here have a system, a very specific system. So think about it, you know, if you wanted to go into business, I wanted to open a franchise and I was going to buy into a Chick-fil-A. Or maybe you've ever, you know, you've thought, raise your hand if you've thought like, maybe I could own a McDonald's. I don't have $1 million to get into it, but maybe if I knew how to, you know, run a business, I could run a McDonald's. The reason why there's so much success in the McDonald's franchise, I see everyone raising their hand. The reason why there's so much success in the McDonald's franchise is because it's a system. Have you guys ever seen a McDonald's that's failed? There's been one actually in California. And the only reason it closed, it was a real estate issue with the building, not a system issue. So it's a proven system. No matter who goes into it, it's going to run, because that book, it's called the Franchise Format System. It tells the owner how to run the cash register, how to run the profits, the degree to which the fries are supposed to be cooked at. So it's so specific down to that degree and to the minutes and to the second of how the food is cooked and the coffee is made and the ice cream is made, that an 18, 19, or 20-year-old can run it. Have you guys ever walked into a McDonald's and it's like an 18, 19, 20-year-old running it and the owner is nowhere to be found? They're not working the register. They're living dream life. They have time freedom and financial freedom. Does that make sense to everybody? We here have a proven system that teaches you how to get licensed, how to get clients, how to communicate, how to effectively market financial products and services. We have a system down to the degree of cooking the fries that allows McDonald's to have 18-year-olds run it. It allows somebody like me or you who has never been an entrepreneur to run it. And that's what you need when you're going into business. And so when we're going into business, we look for things like, what's the compensation? Obviously, a McDonald's revenue, huge. Financial services, highest paid industry. So make sure you guys write that down if you're taking notes. We look for the simplicity. How easy is this? Do I need to go to school for 12 years to learn it? Or will somebody come in and teach me? And if you're the right person and you have work ethic and discipline and you undergo a background check, things like that, we will teach you. It's simple. And then to just make sure we take it a step further, you can actually teach others if you decide you want to run an agency. So you see the map behind me? This is our movement in our initiative. We're going into all 50 states. So right now, a bunch of us hold licenses probably in 30, 40 states, but we're opening offices in all 50 states. So maybe tell me in the chat where you're from, California, North Carolina, Texas. Tell us where you're from, because we are looking for people who want to run agencies, who want to run McDonald's and open offices in all 50 states. Now, if you're on the other end and you're like, hey, this girl's awesome, this is exciting, but it's not for me, I would just want to help a client a week and make 6 figures, you can do that here too. So there's room for everybody here and for every element of it. Does that make sense? Okay. So compensation, simplicity, the speed, it happens very quickly. We expect that you get a license in 2 weeks and you're able to cash flow and bring extra money into your household within 1 to 2 months. I made 6 figures here my first year. Deanna's on track to make 6 figures here. Jake and Mar, 6 figures. Shelby and Mark, 6 figures. The people that you've seen, it's possible. The saturation is another thing I look for. So basically, how many people need me? We already talked about that. I don't know the exact numbers. I'm going to round them off, but every day about 10,000 people retire and they need help understanding their money. Insert me and you. We help them. That's the baby boomers, 78 billion people, 76. After that, the next generation is like my parents' generation, 50 years old, 55. They never planned for retirement. So they know nothing about money. They're playing catch up, but they're also going to inherit a lot of money. So they need help too. There's 65 billion of them. And then afterwards comes the millennials. With the millennials, we just want to like travel and have experiences, and that's all we're about. But actually, we have a lot of debt that we need to get out of. And then after that is the next generation. And that generation, that's my little brother's generation, like 18, 19, 20, 21, anyone super young on here. But basically, you guys see this mess that we're all in and you want nothing to do with it. That's why you guys seek out advice everywhere, but nowhere is willing to give it to you, because you don't have enough money, because they don't have the licenses, like Mark said, that, you know, US insurance-based companies can provide. And so there's this big need, huge market demand, and nobody to do it. In the entire US, there's about close to 100,000 financial representatives, agents like us. Life and health agents is what we're called. In California alone, there's almost 100,000 real estate agents. So that should tell you how big the demand is. And then not to mention 50% of those agents are over the age of 60. So what does that mean? They're going to retire and there's going to be only half of us. So it's a very big need, very big demand, very simple, detailed system, very big compensation. I don't know if I said that right. It gives you the opportunity to reach all those dreams that you have, travel with your family, retire your parents, make your kids proud. Like all these little dreams that like maybe I hope are starting to come out in you, you have the opportunity to reach them here. And so don't be worried about, you know, if you were to open a McDonald's, it's not because you like the Big Mac and French fries. Gross. They're not good. And they clog arteries. They're not doing anything good for our community. That's not why. You're not a food expert. And so if you come into financial services with us and build an agency, really it's about massive expansion. You don't have to be a financial expert. You don't have to like retirement and budgeting and stuff like that. You don't have to do any of that. You don't have to be that expert. We're going to teach you how, just like the system would teach you how to fry the fries. Does that make sense to everyone? So we'll teach you. We have a really good system, very simple, very fast, especially in these times is what we need. Okay. So I wanted to make sure I covered everything and make sure you guys know that here you have a place to reach your goals, reach your dreams, whatever they are. Maybe, you know, you want to travel the world. Maybe you want to speak in front of a lot of people like this. Maybe you just want to have a family. We're a big family. We have an event and we go state to state every 90 days. So every about 3 months, and we all meet and we boot camp and we love each other and we grow together and we talk about how we can contribute to these communities and open offices and do all these things that we want to do. At the same time, we're very competitive. Like this is my sport. I grew up playing sports. I love it. And so we're very competitive here, high compensation, things like that. So it's going to meet all of your needs. Again, you have to be willing to grow and open to mentorship. So I actually never got to my slides and I'm not going to, but what I will do, I went through everything that I talked about, but what I will do is I'm going to leave this. It says www.setmyfollowup.com. And what I want you to do, I'm going to leave this on so you guys can see it, is, and just a reminder, I want to give me 2 more minutes of your time. It's well spent. Trust me. When we're looking for, I said we're agents, an agency looking to bring on agents. I want to make sure I'm crystal clear on something. We are not a W-2 position and we don't pay hourly, which is the good news. Because if you liked being paid hourly and being an employee and trading your time for dollar, you wouldn't be seeking more. You would have had your parents retired. You would have had your kids going to the school you want them to and doing these things. So if you had a dream right now, it means what you're doing can't currently reach it. So employees, when you trade your time for dollar, got it? That's not what we are. We're not going to pay you hourly. That's the good news. Next is self-employed. This is like the girl who cuts my hair. I'm not her boss. The lady at the salon's not her boss. She's in charge of her own time. But if she doesn't show up to cut my hair, she doesn't get paid. She's self-employed. And so I want you guys to be shifting your thinking to business owner. No matter if you show up, obviously you have to lay the foundation, build the business, learn the system, learn the franchise format system or the business format system, and you can leave the office to run, sort of like North Carolina runs with or without me. And in Mark and Jake and all, it runs. If I were to leave this office that I'm at, it would run without me. That's true business ownership, to where you can leave something, it runs, and you have massive income, passive income, and you're reaching those goals and dreams. So you can maybe say like, hey, I get a lot of people that tell me like, I make 200, 300, 400 grand a year. You still don't have time. So what we're going to teach you is to have financial freedom and time freedom so that you can do the things you want. That's what we're looking for. And that's what we're about. When we bring on agents, we don't want to just bring you on because you're good at math. We want all of these things. We want you to have big goals, big dreams, go through our apprenticeship program, and then learn how to serve the community. So that's what we're looking for. If you think, so 2 things, you're going to visit setmyfollowup.com, just how it sounds, www.setmyfollowup.com. Fill in your name, who invited you. If it was myself, Mark, Shelby, Alyssa, whoever it was, put their name. And then I want you to tell us, hey, I want to get proper protection in place. I want to learn how to compound like Mark taught me. I want to learn how to get tax-free and Roth IRA and life insurance, all these things Mark talked about. And then if you want an interview, so we have an interview process, a background check. We're going to be holding interviews tomorrow. That's Wednesday, the latest Thursday. I'm going to say that one more time. The latest we will interview is Thursday afternoon. Why? Our interview process happens within 24 to 48 hours of our expansion events. This is that. Happens within 24 to 48 hours while it's fresh in your mind and fresh in ours. I know life is busy. I know you have obligations, but I also know that you're looking for something more. So I want you to make time, 30 minutes to sit, Zoom with a broker, Zoom with the director of expansion, and see if you're a fit. If you are a fit and we agree to work with you, we'll take you through the licensing, through the training, and through our system. Okay. So visit Set My Follow-Up. Tell us about you. I would imagine we're going to get a ton of these. We always do. So you need to set yourself apart. I'm bilingual. I have a dream. I want to do this. I've been a teacher. I'm in the medical field. I'm looking for something new. I'm looking for a career change. I have a couple kids, whatever it is. Tell us what drives you so that we can, go through these. We're going to do our best to reach out to everyone and get the interview scheduled. We want to meet you in 24 to 48 hours. If you want a financial needs analysis, like Mark talked about, I'm going to actually go back and close it with this. If you want to look at the financial analysis, that's what it looks like. We take your information and it's kind of like a checkup. So when you go to the doctor, you're like, take my blood, check my blood pressure, things like that. And am I missing anything, doctor? Do I need to do anything different? Change my daily routine? I want to live as long as possible. With your analysis, we're going to show you how to make your money last you as long as possible. See if there's anything you need to change with your contributions to your 401k, the way you're paying off debt, the way you're paying off your mortgage, things like that, the way you're saving for your kids. So we will help you with that as well. So visit that website. Give us your information. We will reach out to you and then we'll follow up with you guys from here. If you have questions, you can also put them in that form or reach out to the person who invited you. So we'll hold our interviews tomorrow and we can't wait to see you guys.